They have one property that's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times what this judge put down as a value. Put down a value $18 million, and the property's probably worth, could be anywhere from 50 to 100 times more than that. And a lot of those numbers could even be low. We have other properties, the same thing, so he devalued everything. I didn't even put in my best asset, which is the brand, in terms of value. Coca-Cola, take a look at their value. They have a value. The value of their brand is more than everything else put together. My brand is extremely valuable. I didn't even use it in my financials. If I wanted to build up a financial statement, I would have built it up by using brand in addition to everything else. We have the greatest properties. We have among the greatest properties in the world, and I have to go.
That was Donald Trump ranting and raving like a maniac when he attended 2.5 days of the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case that went to trial. And then Donald Trump went back to his safe space at Mar-a-Lago, and he hasn't returned, although he claims he's going to be coming back. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. In that video that you just saw, Donald Trump, among other things, says that I didn't add the value of my brand into my statement of financial conditions. I should have added the brand value of Trump into the statement of financial conditions. Well, there is smoking gun testimony today as the week 2 of New York Attorney General's civil fraud trial is about to wrap up from a Trump executives to show exactly what it is you did, because we care about evidence in courts and here on the MeidasTouch Network. Here is what's alleged by New York Attorney General Letitia James and in Judge Engoron's order, where Judge Engoron granted summary judgment in favor of New York Attorney General Letitia James a few weeks back, where he ordered the dissolution of the Trump Organization and the cancellation of the LLCs. That's currently under appeal. But this is what came from the judge's dissolution order. The Trump brand premium. The evidence, and it's undisputed evidence, indicates that for the years 2013 through 2020, the statement of financial conditions relied on values that included a 15% or 30% premium based on the Trump brand for the following 7 golf clubs: Trump National Golf Course, TNGC Jupiter, TNGC LA, TNGC Colts Neck, TNGC Philadelphia, TNGC DC, TNGC Charlotte, and TNGC Hudson Value. And that refers to the docket. However, the statement of financial conditions for those years, and indeed all the years before this court, also contained express language stating, the goodwill attached to the Trump name has significant value that has not been reflected in the preparation of this financial statement. Accordingly, the statement of financial conditions double dip, both purporting not to include a brand premium while simultaneously including a brand premium. One of 15%, one of 30%, right? That is fraud. The statement of financial conditions that are submitted state there is no brand premium, but a 15 to 30% brand premium is added. Now, I don't just want to say that. Donald Trump will say, this judge is a Democratic operative and these prosecutors are deep state operatives. Okay, let's focus on the evidence. Let's focus on the testimony. Who just testified at the New York Attorney General's civil fraud trial? Patrick Birney. Here he is. Pull up Patrick Birney's LinkedIn, the Assistant Vice President Financial Operations at the Trump Organization. And there was cross-examination of Birney. Birney still works at the Trump Organization. So first, Birney is shown an email that Alan Weisselberg sent him, more on that in a moment, on September 10th, 2019, with a message that it's a notation that says, for the statements of financial condition, abbreviating statement of financial conditions. And shout out here to Adam Klasfeld, who is in the courtroom right now providing these live tweets. So you see the notations right there. And then these same types of notations are being utilized for, you guessed it, the brand premium. So the New York Attorney General shows Patrick Birney notations. One involves this math. 30% premium for ex-president would give $27 million. Another says 27% premium for presidential personal residence. In other words, there are notations that are coming from Weisselberg and others that are basically instructing Birney and others to add premiums. Donald Trump is including premiums on properties, 35% ex-president premium, 25% premium for presidential personal residence. Here's another notation, 15% premium for presidential property. So the questions of Birney are, these brand premiums were added in the statement of financial conditions, and here are the notations that show that happening. That is evidence. And you remember from my previous hot takes on this trial, what's Weisselberg saying? I don't recall. I don't recall. I don't recall. I don't recall. Remember what happened during Weisselberg's testimony? Watch my hot take from earlier, and Popok did a good hot take on it as well. It abruptly ended when it became clear that Weisselberg, the former chief financial officer of the Trump Organization, was potentially committing perjury because the writers from Forbes magazine said, wait a minute, we have evidence showing that Alan Weisselberg, when he was working at the Trump Organization, was very significantly involved in getting us data about the Trump triplex, about the other properties when we were trying to assess whether Trump can make the Forbes list of wealthy people. And now you have Weisselberg testifying that he wasn't concerned with the triplex and he wasn't focused on that. So Weisselberg's testimony abruptly ended, and then Weisselberg was shown his severance agreement for $2 million, which equaled the exact amount of the criminal penalty that he was required to pay when he pled guilty to criminal fraud in the Manhattan District Attorney criminal prosecution when he went to Rikers Island. And that in and of itself, in my opinion, could be viewed as obstruction of justice, that he's essentially getting bribed to not provide forthcoming testimony. When you look at what the requirements are under the severance agreement, the fact that you would tie it to a criminal penalty this way is very unusual. It's certainly something that raises a lot of suspicions, criminal suspicions. And Weisselberg's response is, it's just a coincidence. That's what Weisselberg testified to yesterday. But it's clear from these notations that are coming from Weisselberg, and that Weisselberg knew all about it. And by the way, here's the deposition testimony of Weisselberg, where Weisselberg says that he doesn't know generally accepted accounting principles. Play this clip.
If I said the phrase GAAP, GAAP, are you familiar with that acronym?
I've heard of that, yes.
Okay. Tell me everything you know about GAAP. What is GAAP?
Generally accepted accounting principles. I don't know what's in GAAP. I never took the CPA exam.
Okay.
And never studied for it. So I don't know all the various components of what GAAP is.
Are there any components you know about what GAAP is?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
And here's Donald Trump saying that Weisselberg was the one responsible for generally accepted accounting principles. Play the clip.
To meet your obligation here of presenting the information in accordance with GAAP, was Alan Weisselberg responsible for that?
Object to the form.
I would say yes.
Now, either they are both incredibly dumb and don't know basic things that are required for the things, to sign off, that they're signing off on, or they are intentionally covering up the reality of things that are coming out in evidence. Like this bombshell stuff that, no, you were adding brand premium. Here are the notations. Here's where it says it. Again, evidence is king. Evidence is key. And that's what we're going to keep focusing on here on the MeidasTouch Network. I'm Ben Meiselas. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Have a good day.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.